With the Nintendo Switch 2 officially being announced, I think it's finally time to talk about what games I'd love to see within the first year of the system. Also known as predictions and just general discussion of what I think the Switch could have for its launch year. Of course, we already have Mario Kart 9, basically confirmed. And by basically confirmed, I mean the only thing left for Nintendo to reveal is its actual name, which will probably just be Mario Kart 9. And look, there's a lot we can glean from this very small trailer. So many people have made videos on it already. I think the game looks really cool. I cannot wait to play it. It is finally time for a new Mario Kart after over a decade at this point since Mario Kart 8 released for the Wii U. So I'm super excited, but I really don't want to dwell on this one because everyone's talked about Mario Kart 9. Although speaking of what is probably a launch title, I would absolutely love to see a new WarioWare game as a launch title. Because, in all honesty, WarioWare Move It is the best tech demo for the Switch, and it released like 6 or 7 years into the Switch's lifespan. The Switch 2 should really have a game like this because the WarioWare games are consistently amazing tech demos of what the system can do. And they're also usually good games. So imagine 1-2 Switch, but if it was good. Honestly, I do stand by this. If we do not get a WarioWare game at launch, I really think it would be a missed opportunity to not get a Wario game within at least the first year of the Switch's life, and if not that, the first 2. Because if any series is going to show what new fun things the Switch 2 can do that the original could not, it's going to be WarioWare. I discussed what the game could be, or what I would like to see from it, but WarioWare is such a completely wacky series that has basically no rules that it could be anything. Although, while keeping on theme for Mario and Mario-related characters, let's talk about 3D Mario. I think there is highly likely that we get a new 3D Mario game. The last new one was Mario Odyssey, or debatably Bowser's Fury. And it has been a while. It is about time for a new Mario game. Everyone has been waiting for a new 3D Mario. I think that it's probably going to release. I could see it being a launch title as well. Because again, the Switch needs to launch with games. Launching with games is so important. Or, at the absolute worst, it's going to be their holiday title. I genuinely don't think that we go the first year without a new 3D Mario. Whether that be a completely new entry separate from everything else, Odyssey 2, Galaxy 3, I think we're going to get something. And that is the key word. Something. I can speculate all I want on what I would love it to be, but we don't know. I mean, I'm still going to talk about what I would love to see from a new 3D Mario, but everything I'm saying at this point is this would be cool and I would personally like this. We don't really know concrete anything. In all fairness, this entire video is speculation, but with a new 3D Mario especially, there is no precedent Nintendo has actually set for these games other than really high quality 3D platformers. Because each of them is so drastically different from the last, with the exception of the direct sequels. As for one thing I would absolutely love to see, and I think is likely, keeping the general flow of movement from Mario Odyssey. Because Odyssey's movement is incredible, and even within the Switch port of Mario 3D World, they actually adapted a couple of Mario's moves from Odyssey and put them into 3D World, such as the mid-air dive and the fast entering of pipes. Those are very small features that they went out of their way to add to a port. That shows how fundamental and how good they are to making Mario's moveset feel amazing. As for what I'd personally want aside from that, honestly, open world. Genuinely, Bowser's Fury is a little tiny taste of what an open world Mario game could be like, and I want more. Genuinely, Bowser's Fury, but bigger with Odyssey's moveset, and moons or that style of progression system is genuinely going to be one of the best 3D Mario games I've ever played. It would be great. Again, I can't say much more, but genuinely just bigger Bowser's Fury with Odyssey-style movement, and you have a recipe for an amazing game. But going from a game that's all but confirmed to a game we know for a fact is releasing next year, and I do think will be a either cross-release between the Switch 1 and 2, or straight up a Switch 2 exclusive, is Metroid Prime 4. And when I say exclusive or cross-port, I think it might be similar to what we kind of see in the Code of Thousand Year Door's Switch port, where it has really, really good capabilities, and I think that will likely have an enhanced version that runs at 60 FPS just by playing the game on the Switch 2. But Metroid Prime 4 was a game Nintendo promised for the Switch back in 2017, and it is finally releasing this year. And Nintendo, I'm gonna be honest with you, this better be good or you are going to have people rioting. Because it took you nearly a decade to release this game from announcement to release. And I'm assuming it doesn't get delayed further. Don't get me wrong, I think delays are a good thing, and I think the game is going to be better off for it. I just think it was definitely revealed at least 7 years too early. But I don't have much more to say, because we already know this game is coming, and we can tell from the gameplay trailer that it's going to play like the other 3 Metroid Prime games. And that is a good thing. This game already has a ton of promise, and is looking to be great, especially if Nintendo made sure they gave this game the time and care it needed, which I am almost certain they did within the fact that it has been delayed till this year. Okay, so we all knew Legends of Zelda was already coming out this year, and because of reasons, we also already know, yes, it is cross-releasing on both the Switch and Switch 2. Seriously, how did a terabyte of data get out there, Game Freak? What are you doing? And I have tried to stay away from the Terra leak and all that jazz that happened with Pokemon, so I don't know any of the stuff that got revealed in it for ZA. But it is coming out this year, and it is coming out for the Switch too, and both of those are facts we know. All I can say past this point is, please be good. Genuinely, this game could be one of the best Pokemon games I have ever played, because it is going to take my nostalgia for X and Y, and the gameplay of Legends Arceus, my favorite game in the series, and mash those together, and this could be the best game in the series if they don't fumble it. But then again, it's Game Freak. But onto a developer I wholeheartedly trust, Monolith Soft's Xenoblade X Definitive Edition. Honestly, until we found the Switch Direct coming in April, I genuinely thought this was going to cross-release on both the Switch and Switch 2. Because Xenoblade X is an amazing game, and this feels right. And I don't know why that felt right. Why would Nintendo make a Xenoblade game a launch title? I don't know what I was thinking, but I really wanted it to be one. If some games do have enhanced capabilities on the Switch 2, I think it is highly likely that Xenoblade X ends up being one. But in reality, it's probably going to be a Switch game, and I will be completely happy having all Xenoblade games that are currently out available on one console. And guess what? Even if we get Xenoblade 4 on the Switch 2, it's backwards compatible, baby! Although a game that will likely is less necessary than it was going from the Wii U to Switch due to the backwards compatibility is Splatoon 4. We got Splatoon 2 super close to the Switch's release, because Splatoon 1 was a Wii U game, and there was no way to play it on the Switch. You can still play Splatoon 3, you can still play it on the Switch. There is not any rush to get Splatoon onto the Switch so that it is playable, unlike what was the case with the original Switch. And I know I keep calling the Switch 2 the Switch. Sorry about that. That is just force of habit. I wish it had a different name. It would be so much easier to remember. But yeah, while Nintendo isn't technically in a rush to get Splatoon 4 out on the Switch 2 so that the game can be played and enjoyed by the masses, also known as money, it's still highly likely that they will make a new Splatoon game, because, frankly, these games sell really well. Like, in all honesty, it's not technically needed, but it's still highly likely, and I think Nintendo would still like to, within the first year or two at most, say, yes, there is a Splatoon game specifically built for the console. Now, let's talk about Kirby. I know that's an abrupt transition and all, but, like, it's been a while since Forgotten Land, and even Return to Dreamland Deluxe, and we get Kirby games so often, and it's been, like, weirdly long, which is really weird to say when it's been a completely normal gap of time between games. It's been, like, 2 years. Which, again, weird amount of time to be like, yeah, it sure has been a while. It's literally been less than 2 years since the last Kirby game, as of recording this video. But, yeah, I don't really know either. That's just how frequently these games get pumped out. So, it's the weird thing of, it feels like it's time. Even though there is no reason for a Kirby game to release less than 3 years after the last one. But it could. Like, it's not like, oh, it sure has been like 30 years since the last Kirby game. It's like, it has been 2. It has literally been less than 2 years. We do not need a new Kirby game, but it's felt like a while. And, I don't know, just feels right to have a Kirby game early on in the Switch 2's life. As for what I'd want out of it, I'm good with either 2D or 3D Kirby. I love both. Personally, I'd prefer a game in the style of Forgotten Land, because Forgotten Land is genuinely my favorite Kirby game, and is one of the best steps into 3D any game has ever made. I mean, I think it's the best 2D to 3D transition from a game. It's not a fair comparison, because Mario did it 30 years earlier, but it is a comparison. And comparisons can go quite far, especially since I'm now comparing Kirby to Zelda. I'm doing that for the sake of a transition, but I'm doing it nonetheless. And this is a weird one, where I think from a money standpoint and a marketing standpoint, having a new Zelda game on the Switch 2 near launch is a great idea, but I'm very, very doubtful that would happen. We got Echoes of Wisdom last year, which is a great 2D Zelda. And the year before that, we got Tears of the Kingdom, a game that was likely in development since 2017 or so, even during Breath of the Wild's DLC. And here's the thing. I do not think 2 years is enough time for the 3D Zelda team to make a new game, and I definitely don't think a year is enough for a new 2D Zelda. Even reusing engines. Tears of the Kingdom took 5 years, and I genuinely don't think we're going to see a new Zelda on the system for at least 2 years. I could be proven wrong, and I'll do that happily, but I think the only way we see an actually new Zelda is being patient. I think we could get something like just HD ports of Wind Waker or Twilight Princess to kind of spare out and pad out the timing between waits. But an actually fully new Zelda, I don't think we're going to see for a while. I don't even know if it would be open world, because Breath of the Wild was meant to be different and completely separate from the series. And if they want to keep that up, how do you be completely different and be the thing everyone's expecting you to be? Honestly, a video discussing what's next for Zelda could be a very interesting discussion. And I should write that down. But the short of this relatively short section anyway is, I don't think we're going to see a new Zelda for a little bit. We might get some ports. I don't see much more past that. Again, maybe an enhanced version of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom to run better on the system. I really don't think we're going to see anything from this IP for at least another few years. Because we just got 2 new games, and it's going to take years to develop another one. Look, this is the part of the video where I'm like, oh, Pikmin 5 sure isn't up. No, it isn't. We had to wait 10 years between Pikmin 3 and 4. We had to wait 9 years between 2 and 3. I'll see you guys in 2033 when we get Pikmin 5. But I'm just going to use this section to discuss some of Nintendo's smaller IPs, because I think, honestly, a lot of them, I don't know if they stand that great of a chance, especially early on in the lifespan. Something the Switch did really great is the second half of its life. I found it was really using its smaller IPs now that it had gotten the main ones out of the way. I think that is when we'd see stuff like Pikmin 5 or ARMS 2, if they wanted to make that. I do really think that there's a lot of games that have a chance, maybe in 2027 and beyond, but for the first year, or even first 2 or 3 years, I don't think series like Pikmin, ARMS, the small stuff no one really cares about, Snipperclips, I don't think they have that good of a chance. And while I'm here, I'll mention series like Paper Mario and Mario Party, where it's like, yeah, those are big series that I didn't talk about. But the actual answer as to why is, I mean, we literally got ones last year. I think Nintendo was probably waiting to see the results of Thousand Year Door, to see, are these people who keep complaining and asking for traditional 2D Paper Mario actually enough people to warrant us making it? And then Mario Party, it's been a couple months. We're going to wait longer than Jamboree. I could see it being year 2, maybe year 3, but year 1 is pretty well out of the question. Just because the series where we really recently got a new game that also aren't these major, this needs to have a new game ASAP, I just don't see having those kind of odds. Now, of course, there is one major Nintendo series I have left out, and that's for a very good reason, because this is going to take a minute, huh? Because what do you add to the game that has everything? Smash Ultimate has every character in the series, almost every single stage, and over 1,000 music tracks from some of the most iconic video games of all time. Hell, the game called itself Ultimate. And yes, I know it's called Special in Japan, but that's besides the point. How exactly do you top Ultimate? Because the bar is so high for the Smash series, and we don't even know if Sakurai is done with the series after Ultimate. Because if he is, I do not blame him. That is an amazing way to go out of the series. Because you didn't go out with a bang, you went out with a fleet of nukes. Because before we knew of backwards compatibility on the Switch 2, I think a lot of people were assuming we'd just get a port. Smash Ultimate Deluxe. Maybe it has 10, 20 DLC fighters that get added on after the game releases, but for the most part, it's just a port of Smash Ultimate with all of its DLC and maybe a tiny bit of new content sprinkled in there. That would be incredibly redundant if I can already play Smash Ultimate on my Switch 2. That's the problem. Smash has put itself in a position where it is a game that is almost impossible to think of what you could do for a new entry. Because, oh, if we cut down the roster, what about all these people who main characters you cut? That's going to upset so many people. Well, we can't just keep adding, that's unrealistic. Yeah, it is. There's already close to 90 characters in the base game of Ultimate and its DLC. If you add more to that in a new entry, what are we gonna end up with? 120 characters? Hundreds? Like, that's ridiculous. Balancing them all and fine-tuning them all to have a good moveset is unrealistic. Especially since some of the earlier characters, especially the ones from Smash 64, really need a new moveset. But you also can't skip out on a new entry. Whether Sakurai is involved or not, Nintendo is not going to let a console generation go by without a new Smash. Because this thing not only sells incredibly, but is a marketing powerhouse for not just Nintendo, but all IPs associated with it. Having your character in Smash is not just an honor, because you are in the Video Game Hall of Fame, but also a giant billboard that everyone in the industry is going to see. The amount of franchises that I love, that I have learned about because of Smash Bros. Is at least like 5 at this point. Which, newsflash, I've played a lot of games, and the fact is, probably a good chunk of that list I wouldn't have played without Smash. So it is a major opportunity that they're not going to miss out on. But at the same time, they're in a position where topping Ultimate, or even coming anywhere close, is impossible. An unstoppable object versus an immovable force. Because the fact is, it is inevitable, it has to happen, but you can't surpass Ultimate. I genuinely don't see a way that can happen. And hey, if 2-3 years from now, the game releases and I have to bite my tongue, I will. Because I would happily admit I was wrong. But I don't see how. And maybe I'm blinded. Maybe I don't know. But I cannot see it. And if you can and have an idea, genuinely, tell me in the comments. Because I have no idea. And I would love to be proven wrong. I'd love for whatever comes next for the series to be better than Ultimate in every single way possible. Even if it has less characters, every character is amazing and fun to play. But that isn't the case. I don't think that's going to be the case, and I don't know what's next. So, what are your thoughts? What do you think is going to come to the Switch 2? What are you hoping is coming? And what do you think I said in this video is completely wrong and stupid? Either way, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!